What's up, guys? It's Friday. You know what that means. It's time for another D&D update video. So this week Out of the Abyss officially launched, so that's where most of the news is focused, so there's not a whole lot there since we talked about it last week. But there is a new video in the D&D Designers series. There's a couple of things centered around customizing your own Out of the Abyss game. The Wizards of the Coast forum's closed, but we have some alternatives for you and some other cool fan-related things that you can check out. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so I said we were going to start off with Out of the Abyss stuff, so let's jump right in there. So we're going to start with the trailer here, for this Drizzt's Descent into Madness video. It's pretty interesting. It's not very long. Like I've said before, these videos are pretty cool. This one actually talks about something that I didn't know, because I'll admit that I'm not too knowledgeable about Drizzt, but if you watch this video, you see that kind of creepy looking face? Apparently, if he returns to the Underdark, he slowly starts to go insane and become like a ridiculous, like, killing machine guy, and I guess that's the whole point of Demogorgon's stuff here, being able to do that. So, yeah, I don't know, I guess that's a thing. So I checked the video out. You get, obviously, Ari Salvatore here is talking about stuff, so you can get his perspective on things. But yeah, so that's that. We're gonna jump out of this now. So, let's see. Here we go. 9 ways to kick off your Rage of Demons campaign. This is just a quick little thing. A lot of this stuff is goofy, but I'll just jump through them. Put together a soundtrack. So if you guys are playing, you put together epic music. Cook up a Zugmoy approved appetizer. So I guess that's stuffed mushrooms. Make a body part kebab, body parts gummy Halloween candies, and there are links in all of these, and again, all of the links that I'm clicking on here will be in the description. Create enticing invitations. I don't know. Keep yourself and your players healthy. Keep your game on track by keeping everyone in good health. Oh, make your sick friends stay at home and sleep it off rather than playing in the campaign. Encourage your players to use their own sets of dice and keep things like hands. That's such a weird thing, but yeah, I mean, I get it. Use your own dice, hand sanitizer, yada yada yada. Learn a magic trick. Belaphos might not be a demon lord yet, but he likes tricking mortals. So check out youtube.com/magictricks. Okay. Organize a quick Baphomet approved game before your session. It's like a scavenger hunt. I don't know. These are really weird, guys. Take them or leave them. Make a gelatin mold of Joyblex's likeness. I don't know. Make a jello mold and dress up. Thank you, WotC, for that. That's something. So anyway, we're gonna move on. Out of the Abyss is available in Fantasy Grounds. If you guys are Fantasy Grounds players, you can buy this for $34.99 and have this ready to go in your Fantasy Grounds campaign. Out of curiosity, I'm curious to see what people think of Fantasy Grounds. I haven't messed with it too much. In my mind, some of the stuff's easier to do than Roll20, so I'd love to get your guys' opinion on that, so let me know. What else do I have here? Oh, we're gonna get back to that. Let's jump back over here real quick. D&D podcast is with Matthew Good. He's a Canadian rock guy, and he just came out with an album called Chaotic Neutral. Full stop, did not listen to the podcast yet, but feel free to go and check that out. Also, Out of the Abyss, if you guys remember this We Love Fine contest, they've extended the date, which was the 8th of September. The date is now the 13th of October, so feel free to continue that. And they're also now accepting submissions for dice bags, backpacks, on top of t-shirts. So if you're an artist and you're looking to win up to $1,000 and have your art be displayed on We Love Fine that anybody can go buy, go ahead and check that out. Let's jump over here to the Unconventional Challenge. This is another... The articles were pretty weird, and I guess this is technically from last week. It just slipped by me. But anyway. So, it starts off talking about doing impossible things in Dungeons and Dragons. So the author here talks about how him and his friends, they rebuilt an actual real-life building in Dungeons and Dragons. So this was their army stronghold, and this kind of helped them all bond together. This one this talks about how they incorporated Magic the Gathering cards as quick use single scroll spells. So that's something you can maybe do. Talks about how they updated things, the Tomb of Horrors with a futuristic theme. This one is probably the most useful. If you know anything about me in D&D, I would agree with this. Put trinkets in your games. I'll tell you what, it's a stupid D100 table in the player's handbook. People love it, man. It's like they serve no purpose, trinkets, really, other than if your DM wants to give you something that happens with that. So that's an option, for one. But throw them in, it says, like, throw them in chests. Like, they're checking a wardrobe and there's nothing in there but clothes. Throw a trinket in there, roll on the table. And it just, they also bring up a point here, and I would agree with this to some extent. I've had players forego newfound +2 weapons in favor of keeping older +1 weapons of a specific type they preferred, or weapons that had no other powers other than the fact that they named it. I mean, if you started off with one sword and you kind of worked your way through the campaign with that sword and it'd been through with you with a lot and you named it yourself, maybe you want to keep that. I've been there before where you want to keep something just for nostalgia's sake. Players like owning items with memorable details, and they value them accordingly. After all, it's one thing to find a $10 bill on the ground, it's another thing, something else to find the torn half of a $100 bill and know that the other half is somewhere nearby. In Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones treasured his fedora hat more than that golden idol, I'd argue. To that end, consider more hats and fewer golden idols in your game. And then there's a couple other really cool resources for coming up with weird kind of, there's a Penny Arcade actual light and mirror challenge that was done in one D&D game. Ideas for food, how to make terrain. But one thing you may not be aware of was they did this in the second Dragon Plus, or the first Dragon Plus issue, was this elemental themed trinkets. This is an entire list of 100 trinkets that are all elemental evil themed, which I actually forgot about, when I'll get to that in a second, but you guys can check this out. They are all themed for elemental evil. I wouldn't be surprised, and I honestly hope that they do this for Out of the Abyss, because I feel like Underdark trinkets are going to be even crazier than elemental evil trinkets. But while we're on the topic of elemental evil, I'm going to use this opportunity to do a little self-promotion here. Last night, actually, so Thursday night, me and some of my friends here, I'm going to hit play so I'm not just talking on a blank screen here, we started our playthrough of Elemental Evil. And when I say started, I mean last night all we did was create characters. And it got a little crazy, but I wanted to do the character creation live because I feel like character creation is my favorite part of any role-playing game. And I set up this weird little role-play interface, Roll20 interface, where we had, everybody's characters around a table rolling dice. And I had them actually roll stats rather than using the point buy. I'm a pretty generous DM, to be completely honest, so I gave them a couple of options so they wouldn't get stuck. And you should check it out because there's some pretty spectacular rolls are made. I allowed the players, if they wanted, to roll physical dice because I know some people don't like rolling digital dice. But anyway, we created the characters, we talked about backgrounds very briefly and things like that. And we are taking a break next week. The plan is to eventually get to a weekly stream, but we are taking a break next week to kind of get everybody to get their characters in order, and then the following week, which I believe is the 1st of October, we will be back actually gameplay of the first part of Elemental Evil, starting off in Red Larch. So these are my 4 players: Son, Head, Sean, and Reekray. You can't actually see his last name there. But anyway, they are all the players. I'm running the game. We are currently setting things up in Roll20, but I might go to Fantasy Grounds because it might be easier. You also want to see what trinkets they get. They all rolled trinkets, so that's in there as well. So that is my little bit of self-promotion on that, so you guys can check us out. We're also playing it live, so this was streamed live on twitch.tv/nerdimmersion, so feel free to check that out if you guys are interested. Also, while I'm talking about stuff that I've done recently, I talked about it in last week's video. I finally came out with it. This is my idea for how to fix the 5th edition Ranger. We all know there's issues with that, to the point where Wizards of the Coast made that weird 5-level updated Ranger that uses the Spirit Companions that has 2d6 and 2 of the best saves and all this stuff. So anyway, I went through, I created my own little table here with my own abilities. I go through, list out all the stuff. I keep a lot of the stuff the same where I think it fits. I do some tweaking. You can see all of the different stuff here that I came up with, tweaks to the archetypes. And then down at the bottom, I have my reasoning why I made those adjustments. So if you click the little spoiler thing, like why I changed things at level 1, here's all my thought process behind that. Here's what I changed at level 3 and why, and so on and so forth. So anyway, I'll have the link to this in the description, but I would love for you guys to just tear it apart. Please. Go in, give me critiques, tell me whether you like it, whether you think it's dumb, whether you think it's, you know, completely way too OP or still not powerful enough. Just go and review it for me. You know, you can feel free to send me an email. All the social medias over here. Oops, over here if you want to contact me that way. If you want to just leave a comment below this video, that's fine too. You want to leave a comment on the site, I don't care. I am going to post links to this on a handful of various D&D forums, so you guys can probably hit me up over there as well. But that's actually a brilliant segue here to the fact that this, I feel like, came out of nowhere. Wizards of the Coast shutting down their official community forums. These things have stood the test of time for years for both Wizards of the Coast and Dungeons & Dragons. I'll spare you guys the details of the article, but basically they're saying that forums are useless now, more or less. That the world has evolved and social media is the new way to contact people. So because there's things like Reddit, and I mean, you know, the D&D Reddit is fairly popular, and if you don't know, it's worth checking out. But I feel like the community forums were a solid source of build advice, player handbooks, you know, useful information that people would come up with. And I've been going to them since my 3.5 days, looking up like, what's the best way to make a, you know, a swift ambusher, or what's the best way to make a paladin? What classes or skills should I focus on in 5th edition? You know, all this stuff, and they're just wiping it out. October 29th, the last day. So you've got a little over a month at this point. Go in, copy anything you want, copy it down, get the links, get the names of the people you want to talk to, because it's going to be gone. And yeah, you'll see it's, what do they say, third-party websites such as Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, and other fantasy-run websites, or fantastic community-run websites. Guys, your stuff is still solid. I mean, look at the post counts here. 52,000 rule question posts in 5th edition. I'm talking just 5th edition. Okay, you can go back and check this for previous editions. Look at this. Product in general D&D discussion, 110,000 posts. Like, it's clear people are posting things here, guys. Why close this out? I mean, here's 4E stuff, 395,000 4E character optimization things. You got stuff on D&D Worlds. Here's errata for 4E previous editions and so on. I mean, look at how many posts you have. Either way, I think it's a little ridiculous. So I'll have a link to the article, I'll have a link to the forums, and I'm also going to have a link to this, which is basically, this is everybody posting up, where are we going to go? So there's a bunch of people saying things. I'm a big personal fan. I'm partial to Giant in the Playground, so giantitp.com. It's the Order of the Stick folks. They have a pretty good forums. I like the community there. It's pretty, it's not toxic, at least as far as I've seen. But nworld, enworld.org/forum, that is probably one of the bigger ones out there. That there's a lot of D&D people, and it seems like a lot of people from the official forums, that's where they're going to end up going. So again, you'll see there's links and things posted stuff in here, so be sure to check this out and follow your favorite posters, your favorite build creators and things like that. So yeah, guys, I think that's it. We've got the, yeah. Trinkets, elemental trinkets, closing the forums. Oh, a field guide to Baphomet. The Horned King, his type of madness, manifests as bestial urges and mindless rage, pushing its subjects to see themselves as hunters and all other creatures as prey. I feel like going over these kind of previews of the different characters is almost pointless now, since Out of the Abyss is attainable by anybody. Just heads up, go get it if you don't have a local store that you like to support. Amazon usually has everything about $10 cheaper, and if you have Prime, you can get it in 2 days. So that's worth checking out. Something else, I'll put the link in the description again. Extra Life is right around the corner, 2 weeks away, really, at this point. The official D&D one will be happening on October 2nd, 3rd, and sort of the 4th there. And again, if the more money that gets raised for that, the better. I mean, it not only does it help children in need and it goes to a great cause, it also helps us as players. I mean, like I said, individual people that you can donate to will get you cool stuff. Some of the people are letting you design their characters that they're actually going to play on the live stream. They're going to give the DM things like, I want you to throw a flump in the game, and the DM will have to put one in there. Or I want to screw you over, player, I'm going to give the DM this. Or I want to screw the DM over and I'm going to give the player a wish spell, or whatever, that kind of stuff. But not only do you get that fun aspect of kind of playing along and altering the campaigns that you're going to ultimately be watching on Twitch, you also will potentially get us access to all of the stuff from the Sword Coast Adventures Guide, a bunch of it ahead of time. I talked about it last week, though I can put that link in the description too. So be sure, if you have somebody you'd like to donate to, you can go and do that. If you like what I do here, and again, I'm not a big self-promotion guy, but if you like what I'm doing here, I'm actually signed up. Me and my friends, we're all kind of covered under my name. I'll put the link in the description. But we are signed up and linked to the D&D team. So any donations that go towards us, that you guys pick and click our link, those donates will, roll up to the Ultimate D&D group. And it just shows that we're a community out there that's trying to help support Dungeons & Dragons in their effort to help all these kids out. So it helps us. It helps us, it helps the kids, it helps ultimately you by coming up with getting access to things ahead of time. And I'm working on trying to figure out a way. I'm going to put a link in our Twitch stream somewhere so you guys can click that too when we're actually streaming the game. But I'm going to hope to set up a way that you guys will actually be able to impact our game. So you donate to the Extra Life campaign, and it will actually help the players in the game, or help me as the DM one way or another. Maybe, I don't know, maybe if you figure something out, you put a $5 donation, you give me a player, and that player will get a reroll or a +1 bonus to all the rolls for the length of that stream, or something to that effect. Maybe it'll be $1. That sounds like reasonable. You give the player $1, pick a player. I pick, Sean. Donate $1. Sean gets one free reroll of his choice, or a free instance of inspiration, or something like that. Anyway, guys, this is running on way longer than I expected. I always say that there's not a lot of news and it's going to be a short video, and it turns out to be 20 minutes long. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about my Ranger fix. What do you think about the closing of the forums? It's kind of sad. If you check out our character creation thing, what do you think could be changed? Do you think the interface should be done? Do you think we should switch to Fantasy Grounds from Roll20? Seriously, guys, I'm very new to the virtual tabletop. That was my first actual game, ran in one. And if there's any veterans out there, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. So, anyway, guys, that's been your D&D weekly update. Be on the lookout for more D&D stuff coming soon. And I'll see you next time. Have a great weekend.